I salute the participants of the ESCAP Regional Conference on aligning corporate sustainability with the Sustainable Development Goals. My name is Georg Kell. I'm the Executive Director of the United Nations Global Compact, the United Nations interface with the private sector. I want to help you set the stage a little bit to the best as I can. Why is business interested in the Sustainable Development Goals? Secondly, how can the public sector, ESCAP, and other UN organizations get prepared to work more with the private sector to achieve the goals? And thirdly, what are possibly the winning approaches for the future? So let me start with the first point. Why should business care? The point really is that there's a silent revolution going on in the marketplace. Business increasingly realizes and knows that the external environment, the natural environment, the social environment, the governance environment is a critical factor for business success. As business is connected through value chains, increasingly going global, business leaders know they cannot succeed in societies that fail. Investment increasingly is about a long-term bet for building markets, to overcome barriers such as lack of skills or reducing transaction costs associated with corruption, or building a more environmental friendly approach actually strengthens the business case and helps to grow business. The opposite is true if the enabling environment is hostile, if there's environmental stress, be it water scarcity or pollution, or if corruption is high. So business increasingly has a natural interest to support what you could call the Sustainable Development Goals, which both have a public and a private meaning. So the public meaning of the SDGs is to rally governments. The private meaning is to make the business case for every Sustainable Development Goal. And as business has evolved, as corporate sustainability has moved from a purely philanthropic to a strategic core business proposition, the business case for every SDG is increasingly stronger. And this is the huge opportunity for the private sector to see the Sustainable Development Goals as an opportunity to improve core business, to work on the enabling environment, and to collaborate, to work with other partners. Secondly, let me explain briefly what our experience is on what works and what doesn't when working with the private sector. Firstly, the business case obviously has to be the fundamental. And we are currently working on a huge project together with other partners ready for the summit in September, which will show how private goal setting, corporate strategies increasingly touch upon the Sustainable Development Goals. So we hope and we know that a growing number of companies are ready to reframe their mission so it's better aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Secondly, there's much to be done on indicators and accountability and disclosure. Already, many companies are working on that, whether it's GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, or more modern concepts which relate to integrated reporting, which increasingly show how the external environment is material for corporate performance. Here, major efforts are underway to show for every SDG how business can not only align at the strategic level, but also at the operational level, make real progress. Thirdly, what can the public sector do? What can United Nations organization do? It is key that the public sector, United Nations, offers business a voice and offers business also an entry point in showing how business solutions advance the goals. So here the question is building up some incentive structures around specific issues and themes that are of particular importance for particular countries. One of the big trends we see around the world now within our 87 local networks now around the world is to ask the local networks to identify priorities around the Sustainable Development Goals. Which ones are the most important for you? Which ones are you prepared to collaborate on? Once you go through this bottom-up exercise, then you can think about how to provide a supportive infrastructure so that collaboration and partnerships aligned with particular SDGs actually can bring about change through actions. Skeptical business leaders who argue, what are these SDGs? We have to convince them. We have to explain to them that, look, for the first time in the United Nations history, do we have universal development goals. For the first time, we have an opportunity to have an inspirational, forward-looking, goal-setting opportunity where public and private interests overlap. Our job now is to translate this overlapping interest into operational reality. I wish you every success in your deliberations, and I hope you make great progress. Thank you very much.